But speaking of people who are getting on up in age, and I definitely wanted to get Kevin's take on this. Um, James Earl Jones signed away his voice rights for Darth Vader to Lucasfilm. It's going to be completely AI from here on out, which I think is absolutely wonderful. He will always be the voice of Darth Vader. And, you know, it's going to be, for those of us who have always been fans of his work and everything, you know, outside of Star Wars, it's going to be awesome to be able to continue to hear him. And it's nice that the technology has evolved to that way. Was his voice mainly AI in Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Some of it was. He was in there too, but yeah, they had already started the transition anyway.
I'm sure now
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bo.
I say sure now, like now they've got enough of his bass voice, they can get somebody who's similar to him, and like you said, with all basically it's going to be Darth Vader tune instead of auto tune, I guess.
Yeah.
The thing with James Earl Jones is, you know, like if you hear the way he sounds in like Rogue One versus how he sounded in things he's done since like Obi-Wan, it's different. Like Rogue One, it was him when anytime he spoke in Rogue One, but it just didn't quite have the same feel to it. Like you could tell he was older. You could hear it in his voice that he was older. So, you know, I mean, I love James Earl Jones. It's phenomenal, but it is a very good move for them to have either he graciously signed over his voice rights, or they gave him a Scrooge McDuck vault full of cash to get his voice rights. I don't care. The fact that, you know, now we'll be able to easily get Vader in anything. Because I don't know about you guys. I know I've mentioned it on the podcast several times. I just want a movie of Vader just absolutely just going through the movie or the TV, which, by the way, you know, I mean, the way that Star Wars is going, it's nothing but like Disney Plus now. But a show where Vader is just wrecking stuff the whole time. He just goes through and just does, like, gets on a battlefield. You see him pulling rebels. I mean, the stuff that we've seen hints of. I just want that, and we need his voice to do that. So the fact that we will now be able to, instead of having to piece together like old things that James Earl Jones said in order to make it work, now they can just use the technology to be able to, you know, basically do like a GPS voice of James Earl Jones and Darth Vader, and then we can get everything that we need. We can, I mean, from now until the end of time, we can have stuff featuring Darth Vader.
I would love to have James Earl Jones voice as a GPS. That would be great.
Turn right at Andor.
It is your destiny. Just stop. I know it's my destiny to go to the service center.
I find your lack of direction disturbing.
How dare you not turn on Connecticut Boulevard as I commanded you to.
Pray I not alter the directions anymore.
Enter the roundabout.
I mean, for us fans, it's nothing but good. It's really nothing but good, honestly. I mean, the fact that he's like, look, I'm getting older. I can't stand to do all this vocal work anymore. I don't want to do it anymore.
Smart move. All right.
I mean, the thing about it is that I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't already have the rights to his voice as Darth Vader. Because one of the things that George Lucas was very, very clever about whenever he did the original Star Wars was he got the likeness rights of everybody in the movies. And I was like, yeah, I know voice and likeness rights are two different things, but it kind of surprises me that Lucasfilm didn't already have the rights to his voice.
No, that's true, for it to be just the iconic voice that it is. And thing. Yeah.
They didn't have the rights to the most iconic movie villain of all time.
Right.
To his voice. I mean,
because really? I mean, that's essential. I mean, you have the costume, but that's what Vader, really, that's his character. His voice is his character, you know, outside of just what he wears, but still. Yeah.
And thank goodness that we got James Earl Jones as his voice, and it wasn't David Prowse, because if you've ever heard any of his original stuff, it was like it was like an English cabbie talking.
Oh, yeah.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
One of my prize autograph pictures is a picture of Vader, and it's signed by both David Prowse and James Earl Jones.
Yeah, David Prowse he's
got him over there.
Yeah, he's back here.
You need to get the
there,
trifecta now. Next time, if you ever get to see where Hayden Christensen is at a convention, get him to sign it.
Dude,
with James Earl Jones on it and David Prowse, I don't know. I would definitely get Hayden on a Vader picture. I don't know if I would add him to that.
Yeah,
because it's an Empire Strikes Back picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's an Empire picture.
I know what you mean. I get what you're saying. I know. I got you.
And it was something that was offered on a limited basis. And I was able to snap.
No. I get that. I know what you mean.
So, but I wouldn't mind. I'd love to have one from Hayden. Absolutely. I adored him in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, he redeemed him a lot for me. So yeah.
And I mean that the last episode, and granted, I mean, God, I hope you guys have seen the Obi-Wan series by now. If not, I'm gonna spoil here, okay? But when Vader's suit is broken, and then his voice just keep cutting in and out.
Oh,
and my gosh.
Yeah.
And the fact that you see Obi-Wan's lightsaber reflected against him in blue, and then when he says his iconic line about who killed Anakin Skywalker, and then it turns red. My gosh, the visuals, dude. Anyway, I'm not gonna get
that line is up there with I'm your father, I'm your father. It's up there now with that one. The idea, that's right there with it.
Yeah. I mean, his performance in that finally made me break down and buy a Darth Vader hot toy figure.
Oh yeah,
the one with the damaged helmet. Yeah, both him and Ewan's Obi-Wan figure.
Did you guys see any Vaders walking around at Dragon Con this year that had the damaged helmet?
No,
nope.
I didn't.
I did not.
I didn't see the first Vader at all.
The Star Wars was not very. I mean, there was a few, but not many.
It wasn't heavy. I was surprised.
Pulled a Talladega Super Speedway this year, did they?
They did. Vader got chewing tobacco in his helmet.
Yeah, I figured that would be the popular Vader costume was the damage, but no,
I
I didn't see a regular Vader.
Yeah.
I did not see the first regular Vader there this year.
Interesting.
I think all the Star Wars fans say
if there's anybody anywhere that they would appear would be either San Diego Comic-Con or Dragon Con. It's like those are the big ones. So
New York's here in a couple of weeks, or I think it's this weekend, isn't it?
This upcoming weekend, New York Comic Con. So we may see something up there. So, well, saying of the Star Wars vein, Jess and I saw the first 2 episodes of Andor. We have not jumped to the third one yet, and shame on us because they all release on the same day. And I'm sure number 4 is out by now, right, Kev?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
we're a tad behind.
Yeah. Bo, you've not seen any of them.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna try to watch it this coming week.
Okay. The first 2 episodes we really enjoyed, and we're not going to get into spoiler territory or anything like that. But I want Kevin to, if you would, don't mind.
You can. It's okay to gush
because
we would like to know if you want to gush.
This is the series Kevin's been waiting on, and I really want to hear his thoughts. I've not heard these thoughts yet, and so I'm anxious to hear them.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, well, not obviously. Anybody that's been listening to the podcast for a while knows that Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie. It took a long while for it to become my favorite, but it is edged out, and it continues to edge out further and further away from Empire, because Empire used to be my favorite, and I still love Empire. But the thing is, the thing that I value about Star Wars, and that I like about Andor, is that this, Jedi and Force users and the Skywalker family and Palpatine and all that, they're only like a very, 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 very tiny but powerful part of the Star Wars universe. Andor is about everybody else. It's about like what happened with the rebels. It's the same as with Rogue One. That was one of the reasons that I liked Rogue One so much. We had, Rogue One, you have Darth Vader at the end because it needed to be that way, because Rogue One is essentially episode 3.99. It's like super, super close to episode 4. But Andor, is obviously about Cassian Andor. It takes place 5 years before Rogue One. So this takes place basically 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. And it follows just basically what makes a rebel. How did Cassian become a rebel? This series is what I've been wanting, as Brock mentioned earlier, with the Star Wars series. This is unlike anything we've ever had in a Star Wars series. You know, Mandalorian is a phenomenal series because, you know, but it still taps in Mandalorian taps into the same magic that we loved with Star Wars in general.
Right.
That's the reason it's so successful. This show is way off in left field. It's a spy espionage show. Very very much a slow burn. The first 2 episodes you guys said you've seen. The third episode is where you get the hit. The hook doesn't happen until the 3rd episode.
Okay.
So a lot of folks that I've spoken with have been like, man, this just doesn't hook me. But, you know, in Mandalorian, by the end of the 1st episode, we had, you know, little hand sticking out of the prim. And we had that immediate like father-son hook that hooked you like right off the bat. This show's not like that. This show, they don't care. I can tell that the director, the writer of this, they don't care that you are hooked on this. They're going to tell the story regardless. And that's what makes it so good. It's like, it's just the seedy underbelly of Star Wars. That's what this is. And they double down on it in episode 4. Whenever you guys get a chance to watch that, they double down on it because we get to see the Imperial Security Bureau, things that we've never had access to. And the Empire has always been the innards of the Empire has always been kind of viewed as being klutzy and just kind of just bureaucratic, and it's always been kind of viewed as just kind of like inefficient. But we finally get a chance to really see that like these guys knew what they were doing. It was serious, and they had some, you know, the rebels weren't just ragtag; they were organized. And it took a lot for them to be able to walk into these folks, you know, outfits and, you know, learn what they needed to learn to, you know, get the Death Star plans and you know, all that stuff that we knew about with, you know, as the Star Wars stories are told. But yeah, overall, I mean, come on. Obviously, the way I'm talking, I'm gushing. This series so far is jaw-droppingly amazing, and it is now. Just after, I mean, granted, they're really going to have to screw it up to make it me not like it at this point because this is the most well put together Star Wars series so far. And what surprises me was the writer, the guy who put this together, not even a Star Wars fan. The guy's not even a Star Wars fan. He's like, I'm enjoying doing this in the Star Wars universe because there's so much to tap into. But unlike Jon Favreau, who was a huge Star Wars fan, the guy, the showrunner of this is not even a big fan. He's just writing spy espionage stuff in the Star Wars universe, which is, I think, what makes it so good is that it's not overburdened with expectation.
Okay.
Well, showing the bigger sandbox is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and this guy just came in. They were like, we know you write good spy espionage stuff. Write us some Star Wars stuff with this character and then build it out from there. And he's like, okay. Cool. So it was just without a lot of the pretense, without a lot of because the thing is if you think about it, if you're a writer or a director in Star Wars, that's got to be really crazy with expectations because this is one of the most beloved franchises in the world,
right?
In the history of movie cinema or TV. This is, well, probably more movie than TV, but it's got to be one of the most beloved franchises and one of the most profitable franchises in movie history. You know, that's got a lot of writing on it. And
a very passionate fan base.
Very much so. And the thing is I haven't, other than folks saying it's slow and that they just don't feel the same as Mandalorian, I'm like, I get that. I get it. It's not the same thing. This is a very different type of show. But this is like my wheelhouse. I mean, I've waited so many years for this show to finally start. And it's so far, it's everything that I've wanted it to be.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good to hear.
Well, that gives us high hopes for continuing the series because we really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. His little droid friend is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yes. I'm a sucker for droids, and I've already taken a liking to this one so far.
Yeah.
B2 EMO is his name. B2 EMO, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew K2SO wasn't going to be in here. Or KTSO, whatever.
K2SO. Yeah.
Yeah. K2SO wasn't going to be in this. And so they're filling the droid void very, very nicely with him. He's cute. I like him.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we get to see more of the characters like Without getting into spoilers, there are some very well-known actors in this. Very, very, very well-known actors in this.
Okay.
And just make sure that when you get to the 4th episode and there is a scene where there's a shop, that you kind of pay attention.
Okay.
There are so many Star Wars Easter eggs in that scene. I can't even.
All right.
Dozens of Star Wars Easter eggs in that scene.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep that in mind.